Hello, I'm Maud Mosley. My pronouns are they, them, and welcome back to Tunes Tuesday, a weekly series where I sit down with queer, 2S LGBTQ plus artists and bands to talk to them about their music, their experiences in the scene, and more. Today, I am joined by Philadelphia-based ska power pop band Catbite. Hello, folks. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hi.
Hello.
All right, I'll start. My name is Brittany. My pronouns are she, her, and I play keyboard and sing for Catbite.
And I'm Tim. I use he, him pronouns. And I play guitar and do also some singing. Not as much, but a little bit of singing in Catbite as well. And we're half the band. We have two more.
Half Catbite.
Third, yeah.
I'm so glad to have you here today. And I kind of just want to point out to people, we did not plan this t-shirt thing.
Oh, I called you way ahead of time. I was like, make sure you wear that shirt. If you don't, I'm canceling the call.
Yeah.
Quick plug though, Jeremy.
Absolutely. Yes. I can also link their interview at the end of this video. So
Hell yeah.
make sure to go watch that Jer special. But now to get more into you folks. So the first thing I want to ask is your debut self-titled album, Catbite, came out in 2019 and features great songs like Come On Baby, Midnight Eyes, and Scratch Me Up. Lyrically, this album talks a lot about mental health as it brings up self-destructive tendencies and fears around losing people who were or are important to you. What inspired these themes, and how do you know or think these lyrics resonated with other people?
Yeah. You want to start?
I'll start off. I think when we wrote that album, at least for myself personally, and probably for Tim too, I think we were like partying a lot during that era of life, and I think that definitely had like an influence in our writing. I think because that's just like what we were experiencing in that time. We were both of us were in a relationship with someone together, and that ended up being like kind of like a little bit of a toxic situation. So I think maybe like when we in like some of the lyrics where we're like maybe we miss someone, but like I think that period of time was like not the healthiest for us. So I think hopefully, you know, if anyone is or did go through something similar in their life, hopefully that they could like recognize themselves in those songs or in those lyrics. But yeah, you want to?
Yeah, I mean, like we like the two of us do like the lyrical songwriting in the band. A lot of it separate and a lot of it together, I guess. Like probably half of that record I instigated the lyrics or wrote the lyrics for it, and then same with her, and then we just kind of would collaborate and like make things fit and like kind of fictionalize it and stuff. And like at least for me, when I write lyrics, it's like little tidbits that like I don't really go in to write a song ever. I just have like either a notebook or my phone. On my phone there's just like the notes app, and it's just like little stupid phrases, little stupid rhymes, like just shit that I'm feeling. And like yeah, like the majority, like pretty much all of those songs were written in like a 2-3 year period of time where it was just like she said, we were partying a lot. We were in a weird toxic relationship with one of our friends. And like, I mean, it's like, it was weird because like we're happy and also heartbreak at the same time, which kind of influenced a lot. And like, also I was like in a toxic relationship with my old band, which is weird to say, but like, yeah. So it's just kind of like, yeah, it was just kind of a series of thoughts. So I guess it's just kind of a theme for that whole record. But just put into danceable power pop.
That's always like my favorite kind of song, is like one that like speaks on something maybe more serious, but like you wouldn't necessarily think that unless you really listen to it, because it's like fun and dancey
Yeah, and I think
and like lighthearted, but really it's not.
yeah, and yeah, I think a lot of people respond to that type of music a lot. Like that
Yeah.
personally, I do. You do as well. Like it's
Yeah.
just it's the music that I want to hear, and that's why we made it.
And I mean, I have to say, I love that music as well. And I think it connects to this idea that you're bringing, like, you know, very real feelings and very real experiences to the music that, you know, a lot of people have probably gone through and can relate to. But I think people also know that the toxic things or the harmful things that they've been through is not like all of who they are. So I think that like upbeatness kind of encompasses more of that, where they
Yeah,
still want to have fun, they still want to find that joy, even if they are relating to these, you know, more difficult situations.
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. So then moving on to something that's a bit of a mix of fun and interesting, but also the situation that it was around is kind of sad originally. So you were recently given some recognition outside of music because you were able to find Mannequin Pussy's stolen van.
Yeah.
A great feat, but it builds off an unfortunate circumstance. So how often do you see this kind of theft in the music scene? What's the impact of it? And kind of why should people be more wary of this issue? Because I mean, I have to say, I didn't really even know how often vans got stolen until I
Oh my
started
gosh.
paying deeper attention to artists. And I feel like a lot of people aren't aware of how much it happens.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's well, it hit. I mean, so I was the one that found the van. It was actually a weird, quick story about it. Like, so I work near where they practice, and I've seen their van before, and like I'm like, oh, cool, that's a band van. And I was leaving work, and I saw a notification on Instagram that they lost their van, and I was like on my way home, I'm like, I'm gonna find that van. It was just like this weird thing, the thought that just came into my head. I'm like, it was just like a fact. And then the next morning, first thing in the morning, as soon as I get to work, I'm like, there's their van, and I like hit them up on social media. But anyways, this whole thing, it hits home because my old band, we had our van stolen with all of our gear in it, and it was like right before a tour. This was back about 5 or 6 years ago, when I feel like it was just rampant. Like every major city in the country, it was like,
Yeah, it was crazy. We had like so many friends that were like posting up on social media, like, please be on the lookout for, I think the Suffers had their van stolen. Like,
Suffers, the
same
Districts.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, just like so many, like it was all in like that same like level of band, like, you know, like not super big, like just in like starting to tour full time basically, and which is like the hardest, because you're barely making any money. You're like everything that matters to you is in that band and stuff, and it's just like, you know, it's so chaotic. You're kind of starting out, and I think just like, well, it turns out there's like a lot of like strategic planning behind these band thefts and stuff. I think it was somewhere in Texas, I believe. I want to say Texas, but somewhere there was like a whole organization that was like busted, and it was like a whole chain of people robbing vans, and they would bring all their stuff to this place, and they were selling stuff out of it. And they recovered like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of music equipment. But like, that usually isn't the case. Like, at least when my stuff got stolen, like I never saw any of it ever again. We saw the van though. We got the van back, which is cool.
But just none of the gear.
Yeah, but yeah, it just keeps happening, and it doesn't seem to stop. I definitely think the awareness is helping. There's like a lot more, just the awareness, people like being like, you know, mindful of what they're doing on tour, and like, you know, whether they're sleeping in the van, whether they're backing it up against a brick wall so the back doors can't open, or just like stuff like that. I've noticed, which no one used to talk about before, but now it's like, that's kind of like,
You have to be thinking about it.
It's just like another thing that's just kind of come like full to the front of touring.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that just sounds I mean, so stressful. Like, as you say, if you're not making, you know, that much money or really any money off, you know, what you're doing in that moment, and a bunch of very expensive items, you know, when we're talking about gear, we're not talking about cheap things, you know, even if you have like
Right.
the cheapest guitar, the cheapest bass, you know, that's still a
Yeah.
lot of money. But yeah, so it's so unfortunate how often that happens. And if I can find the news story about what you were mentioning in Texas, I will definitely link it down below, because I feel like, you know, if people see just how big this is and how much money, you know, people make off of
Mhm.
it, and who it exactly is targeting, that could be really informational. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and I did want to mention I saw the cute like Scooby Gang art somebody did
Oh
on
my
her.
god!
Yeah,
I
that's
lost my
amazing.
shit when I saw that. I was like,
I thought that
that's so
was
good.
amazing. Yeah, as a huge Scooby Doo fan, I just like saw that and I was like, I mean, that's perfect. That sums it up exactly.
Yeah, I loved it.
Uh, but yeah, and then so this is the last question I have for you today, because I'm sure a lot of people are getting excited about it, is that you've started to tease your second album and it's coming out later this year. So what can we be expecting from it as far as sound and theme?
Um, well, I've been saying it's like a little bit more aggressive, not like in the musicality of it, but in maybe like the writing.
I think the lyrics are more direct.
Yeah,
Like whereas the last album, it was a lot more vague.
maybe
It's
not even vague either.
just
Just like I tend to write more about like my feelings and like relationships and things like that. But I think this album we talked about like a little bit heavier things than just like feelings and relationships and
yeah, and also like probably there's like 3 or 4 songs that I wrote that were like from the same era of the first album, so it's kind of like still got that vibe of like angst and
yeah.
toxicity, all that stuff. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely, as far as like sonically and stuff, like it still sounds like a Catbite album. Like uh
It feels like this album is like we like know what our sound is. We like honed in on it, and I feel
mhm.
like it's gonna be really good.
Wow.
I'm ready to put it out. I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. So we just finished tracking everything last weekend, and right now it's off to the mixing,
Stage.
all that stuff. I don't really know what happens there. It just goes,
There you go. Beep, boop,
and
beep,
then
boop,
it
beep.
comes out and it's a vinyl, and you're like, whoa, I did that. That's what the stage it is right now. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, it sounds like there's lots to look forward to. And per usual, all their links will be down below. So if you would like to stay tuned to make sure you can get right on it when that album drops and follow them along in the meantime, make sure you're listening to their other music. You can do that all at the links below. Thank you so much for joining me today. Is there anything you'd like to say as bye?
Well, yeah, thank you so much for having
Thank
us.
you.
It's cool to, yeah, it was fun. I guess we never really talk about our lyrics that much, so this is probably the first time in a while.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's cool.
Amazing. Well, I'm so glad
Thanks.
this was fun for you. I always have so much fun with all these artists as well. Thank you so much, everyone, and see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.